In this video, we will try to solve a problem that was asked by a friend on Telegram channel. The question is like this. The supply and demand functions for sandwiches are as follows. We are being given the supply function as 500p minus 1000, where p is the price and q is the quantity. And also quantity demanded is 11,000 minus 1000p. Suppose a price ceiling of $4 is imposed on sandwiches. What will be the consumer surplus, producer surplus, deadweight loss before and after imposing price ceiling? Okay, so first, what we mean by the price ceiling? Price ceiling is just called the price cap also, and it is the highest point at which goods can be sold. Okay, you can think about it like it's a type of price control, and it is the maximum amount the sellers can charge for a good. Okay, so how do we solve this very question? First, we will find the consumer surplus, producer surplus, and deadweight loss before the imposition of price ceiling. Okay, for that, what will we do? First, as we know, at equilibrium, so let me draw the graph also here. So let this be our graph. We have quantity on this axis and price on this axis. Now at equilibrium, our quantity demanded should be equal to quantity supplied. That means we have to equate quantity supplied with quantity demanded. This is before the imposition of price ceiling. Okay, so what is our quantity supplied? That is 500p minus 1000, and it should be equal to 11,000 minus 1000p. Okay, first we will solve for equilibrium price and quantity. So just transposing this negative 1000p on RHS, LHS, this will become 500 plus 1000 is equal to 1500. 1500p is equal to, we have 11,000, transposing this negative 1000 here, it will become positive. So 11,000 plus 1000 is equal to 12,000. Okay, which implies p is equal to 12,000 over 1500. Okay, this gets cancelled, and when we solve, this comes out to be 8. Okay, so our equilibrium price is 8. That means if we draw uh, the demand curve like this, and we have the supply curve like this, that means our equilibrium price would be 8. Okay, and what will be our equilibrium quantity? So our equilibrium quantity would be just equal to, so we just plug p is equal to 8 in either the quantity supplied function or quantity demanded function. So we will just plug p is equal to 8 in quantity supplied function. So our q would be equal to 500. In place of p we have 8, which we calculated, minus 1000, which comes out to be 4000 minus 1000, which comes out to be 3000. Okay, so quantity supplied when price is 8 is equal to 3000. Okay, let me write it clearly. So equilibrium price is 8 and equilibrium quantity is 3000 before the imposition of price ceiling. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to also calculate the consumer surplus first. How do we calculate the consumer surplus? Consumer surplus is the area which is below the demand curve and above the equilibrium price. Okay, that means this very triangle denotes our consumer surplus. So how do we calculate this? First we should find the intercept here, then we will be able to find the consumer surplus. We have to find the intercept of demand curve and intercept of supply curve also. Okay, now how do we find the intercept? Let's take our supply curve first. Okay, so let me write it like this. To find the intercept, we have q is equal to 500p minus 1000. Okay, to find the intercept of supply curve, just we put q is equal to 0. When q is equal to 0, we have 500p is equal to, sorry, 500p minus 1000. Okay, when we solve, this comes out to be 500p is equal to 1000, or p is equal to 1000 divided by 500, and this comes out to be 2. Okay, that means the intercept of supply curve is 2 here. Okay, also finding the intercept of demand function, our demand function is this: q is equal to 11,000 minus 1000. P, set q is equal to 0, that means 0 is equal to 11,000 minus 1000 p. Okay, when solving we have 1000 p is equal to 11,000, or p is equal to 11,000 divided by 1000. Okay, this comes out to be 11. So price intercept of our demand curve is 11 here, so I will write here 11. Okay, it is very easy to calculate the interceptors. Just put q is equal to 0 and you get the price interceptor in both the cases. Now we are able to calculate the consumer surplus and producer surplus. As I told you, consumer surplus is nothing, it is the area which is below the demand curve and above the equilibrium price. Okay, that means this very triangle denotes the consumer surplus, and you know the consumer surplus is simply the price that the consumers are willing to pay and the price they actually pay. Okay, so our consumer surplus, let me write it properly here. So our consumer surplus before the imposition of price ceiling is equal to, that is equal to area of this very triangle. So what is the area of this triangle? It is simply height into altitude. Okay, what is the height? 11 minus 8, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 3 here. Okay, and we know the area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 of, let us say it is base, our base is 3, into what is the height? Height is 3000, because if it is here 3000, it will be also here 3000. So we have 3000 here. Okay, this comes out to be 3000 into 3 is 9000, which comes out to be 9000 divided by 2 is 4500. Okay, this is our consumer surplus. The area of this various triangle gives us the consumer surplus. Similarly, producer surplus is the area which is above the supply curve and below the equilibrium price. This is above the supply curve and below the equilibrium price. So what is the area of this various triangle? That is 1/2 of, let us say this is our base is 8 minus 2 is 6. Okay, 8 minus 2 is 6, so we have 6 into what is the height? Height is 3000, so I will write here 3000. Now we have 6 into 3000 is 18,000 divided by 2 is 9,000. Okay, that means our producer surplus is 9,000, and total surplus is simply, so if I write here also total surplus is simply consumer surplus plus producer surplus. So this is 4500 plus 9000, this comes out to be 13,500 is the total surplus before the imposition of price ceiling. Now we have the price ceiling. The question says that suppose a price ceiling of $4 is imposed. When the price ceiling of $4 is imposed, so let's draw. Equilibrium price was originally 8. If we have a price ceiling of $4, then this line, let me draw it clearly here. So let us say this is our price ceiling of 4. Okay, now what happens when we have price ceiling below the equilibrium price? It is very simple to understand. When the price is 4, okay, quantity demanded, here we have quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. Okay, so we have a shortage here, and how much quantity will be transacted in this case? Now We have this very supply function, we have the price ceiling. Now what would be the quantity supplied when the price is equal to 4, when the ceiling is 4? So when we have price ceiling, let us say price ceiling is equal to 4, what is the quantity supplied? So then quantity supplied is equal to, we just plug p is equal to 4 in our quantity supplied function. So in this function we have 500 times the price ceiling, which is 4, minus 1000. Okay, I hope I make myself clear. So this is 500 into 4 is 2000, minus 1000, this comes out to be 1000. Okay, so when the price ceiling is imposed, what would be the quantity supplied? It is only 1000. Okay, now what would be the corresponding price when quantity is 1000? Okay, corresponding to this very, corresponding to the quantity of 1000, what would be our equilibrium, sorry, what would be the price here? Okay, I repeat here, at at quantity 1000, what would be our price in the demand function? So we just plug 1000 in our demand function. So this is our demand function. We put q is equal to 1000 to get the price corresponding to quantity of 1000. So we have q is equal to 1000. So we just plug q is equal to 1000 here. So we have 1000 is equal to 11,000 minus 1000 p. Okay, so this comes out to be, if we transpose this, will become 1000. P is equal to 11,000 minus 1000 is 10,000, or P is equal to 10,000 divided by 1000. Okay, so this gets cancelled, so we get price is equal to 10. So corresponding to the quantity of 1000, the price would have been 10. Okay, so now what would be our new what we call it, new consumer surplus? So what is the effective price ceiling here? We have effective price ceiling of 4. Okay, and we know consumer surplus is the area which is below the demand curve and above the equilibrium price. Okay, that means our consumer surplus would be, let me draw it properly, I don't have so proper color here. So consumer surplus would be this very area. Okay, this is our new consumer surplus. As I told you, consumer surplus is the area which is below the demand curve and above the price. Okay, in this case above the price ceiling, not above the equilibrium price. So the area of this very what you call it, quadrilateral is the consumer surplus, and it is composed of two things. We have consumer surplus, new consumer surplus. I will write rather new consumer surplus after the price ceiling would be equal to area of this triangle plus area of this very rectangle. Okay, now what is the area of this very triangle? It is simply 1/2 of our base is 11 minus 10 is 1 into what is the height? Height is 1000, which comes, oh, and we have the area of rectangle. Area of rectangle is simply base into height, sorry, length into breadth. So 10 minus 4 is 6 is the length, so I will write 6 into breadth is 1000, so I will write here 1000. This comes out to be, so this is here 500 plus 6000 is equal to 6500. So this is our new consumer surplus after the imposition of price ceiling of $4. Okay, and what is our new producer surplus? Now new producer surplus is simply, so here we can see producer's surplus have also shrink to this very triangle. Okay, this is our new producer surplus. So producer surplus is the area of this very triangle. So this is equal to 1/2 of, let me write it clearly, 1/2 of what is our base, 4 minus 2 is 2, into what is the height is 1000. So this comes out to be 2 and 2 gets cancelled and we are left with only 1000. Okay, so this is our new producer surplus. And we can see here producer surplus has shrunk from 9000 to 1000, and consumer surplus has increased from 4500 to 6500. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to find the deadweight loss. And by deadweight loss, what we mean, deadweight loss is the cost to the society created by the market inefficiency. Okay, so this is the price ceiling or price floor, or the cases of market inefficiency which occurs when supply and demand are out of equilibrium. Okay, here we can see, if it were here, when we were here, there was no deadweight loss. But when the market forces mm, are not being allowed to function properly, efficiently, then we have deadweight loss. And deadweight loss in this case is the area of this very triangle. Okay, this very triangle is the deadweight loss, and it is caused when the demand and supply are not at equilibrium. Okay, so our dead weight loss is equal to, the area of this very triangle is simply 10 minus 4 is 6. So I will write 1/2 of 10 minus 4 is 6, the base of this triangle, times height. What is the height? It is 3000 minus 1000, which is 2000. Okay, so this comes out to be 6 2s are 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we have 6000 as deadweight loss, and you can verify it also. Here we have this 6000 deadweight loss. Our producer surplus is 1000. I hope I am making the right calculation here. And our consumer surplus 6500. And if you add up these things, so what will we get? 6000 and 6000 is 12500, and this comes out to be 13500. So the area of this whole triangle comes out to be 13500. So 13500, and we have calculated the total surplus also 13500 before the imposition of price ceiling. I hope I make myself clear in this video. It was one thing you should have remembered in this case. We don't have the usual demand and supply functions. Okay, it is somewhat twisted here. You can think that minus 1000 is the intercept, which actually is not here on the price axis, and similarly you can think that 11000 is the intercept, which is not the case in this case. So first we have to find the intercept of demand and supply functions, and then we can calculate the producers and consumers surplus. Okay, so let me draw it clearly here again. Originally our consumer surplus was like this. So this was our demand function, supply function, equilibrium price, equilibrium price. Originally this was our consumer surplus, this was our producer surplus. Okay, before the imposition of price ceiling. And after that, what happened? Let me write clearly. This is supply and demand. So when we have the price ceiling like this, so after the imposition of price ceiling, we have this very much as the consumer surplus, and this very thing is producer surplus, and we have the deadweight loss of this very magnitude. Okay, so I hope I make myself clear in this video. Thank you. If you like these videos, please share and subscribe so I get motivated to make more useful stuff for you. Thank you.